It was like an 18-minute long interview.
Wow.
And the whole 18 minutes, she was dogging me out. It was very hurtful.
Did you know she had these feelings towards you?
No!
It bothers you now. You tearing up a little bit now.
Oh, yeah.
Can we get some Kleenex?
All my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice, that's why. All my life, I've been grinding all my life. Look, all my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice, that's why. All my life, I've been grinding all my life.
Hello, welcome to another edition of Club Shay Shay. I am your host, Shannon Sharpe. I'm also the proprietor of Club Shay Shay. And the lady that's stopping by needs no introduction. Actually, she's the first female to actually sit in studio. So this is a first. So thank you for stopping by. She's a Grammy Award-winning songwriter, TV personality, executive producer, actress, entrepreneur, restaurateur. She's the first black woman to win the ASCAP Songwriter of the Year genre. She's also the first female winner of the Masked Singer. She's a wife, a mom, a real housewife of Atlanta, and a fan favorite, Kandi Burruss Tucker. Damn, all of that?
Well, thank you. And I'm the first woman to be in Club Shay Shay.
Give it up. Let's put some hands together.
Now,
give it up. You are the first.
If you haven't heard, I love being the first.
Yes, you are the first in a lot of things.
Kick the door in.
Actually, when we were sitting down to get the guest list, who we could have on, I was like asking my stylist, Hollywood. I said, Hollywood, who should be the first female that actually come in and sit in Club Shay Shay? I'm talking about without hesitation. He said Kandi.
He did?
I'm like, Kandi who? I'm like,
hold on, what you mean Kandi who?
Because I'm like, I know you're not talking about the Real House. I was like, Hollywood, why would she even sit down? And I'm like, I don't know if she's like, you ought to reach out to her. I'm like, well, who handles her? He was like, Don, I'm in the deal. Because,
he told me, I was like, really?
Really? That's what I said when he said, you should have Kandi on. Well, and I'm like, really? So thank you for stopping by.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
I think the biggest thing is, Kandi, is like a lot of people, they only know you from the Real Housewives because you're so far removed. I mean, you still do music. I'm sure you still write.
Yeah.
But you're far removed from Xscape. You're far removed from like being in front.
I don't know if I would totally agree because right now, SWV Xscape, we have a new TV show on.
Prior to that?
Well, prior to that, our group, we reunited, I guess, about 6 years ago.
Okay.
And we've been selling out shows.
I know you have. I mean, I remember.
Now, don't play me like it. Hold on.
I remember Xscape in the 90s. You my daughter was, that's. I'm like, that's them from Xscape. Mm-hmm. So you started at a very young age singing. Were you always musically inclined?
I would think so. I mean, our group, we started singing together when I was 14.
Okay.
That was when I first started going to the performing Tri-Cities High School.
Okay.
Visual
East
Performing
Point.
Arts, right? East Point. So basically, I would sing a little bit, but not like really, really, really trying till I guess 9th grade.
Okay. So 9th grade, and then you get a recording contract in the 11th grade.
Yep. And
then your single dropped that summer.
Yep.
How quickly did your life change?
Ooh. It changed like immediately just simply because, I'm in high school and we got a hit song on the radio.
Right.
So even though like my friends, I would be going to school on a regular basis, but then I would have to lead them, be like, oh, I got shows this weekend.
Wow.
Or I have to, do this, something big that my classmates, if it was something on TV, the teacher would record it and they would be able to watch us all day for the next day. So they used to be glad, like, if I had to be out of school for something, they'd be like, oh, good, we get to watch y'all in history class or whatever.
Did you think, like, when you first started in the 9th grade, so did you have to give up anything? Were you into sports? Did you play sports, basketball, soccer, cheerleading?
No, I did not want to do any of that. I didn't feel like that was my thing. I didn't want to be out in the hot ass sun. That I was like, my friends all, were trying to get me to do that stuff, but I was like, nah, I only did performing arts. So I did drama. That's mainly what I did. And then I was in the Youth Ensemble of Atlanta as well.
Okay.
So outside of school, I still was in theater.
Right. So in the 9th grade, you says, this is my calling. Did you know that's what you wanted to do moving forward? Did you always want to be?
Okay, that's a good question. Okay, when I was young, at first I used to say I wanted to be an accountant or a lawyer.
Okay.
And then when I got, I kind of fell into the performing arts school.
Okay.
A friend of mine, she wanted to go.
Right.
And you had to do this audition process for the summer, and she didn't want to do it by herself. And so she asked me to go with her.
Okay.
And then I ended up getting picked for the school.
And she didn't?
Unfortunately, she didn't.
Man, Kandi, how could you do that?
No. It wasn't my fault. Like, it wasn't my fault.
You should have said, you know what? As much as I would like this is my friend.
It wasn't my fault. But it changed my life. Going to that school changed my life because I was not really necessarily doing all the right things that I should be doing because I guess I didn't have like a focus.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when I got there and was around other like-minded people that were into music and arts, it just kind of like changed everything for me. And meeting my group members, it was like right around the time where, you know, LaFace Records had came to Atlanta.
Yes, absolutely.
So it made it real that, okay, if we just get a record deal, we can blow up.
Right.
And so that's all I thought. It never occurred to me that we wouldn't blow up. I was just like, we just needed somebody to sign us.
Right.
So, yeah.
So you met them, so did they also attend Tri-Cities or did you meet?
Tamika and Tasha did.
Okay.
Yeah, Tamika and Tasha did. Tiny went to summer school there 1 year.
Right.
But I met Tiny through Tamika Scott.
Okay. And so did anything about school change for you? Just like, dang, I mean, everybody knows who I am. I got to be different. Did you change?
At school, no. Like at school, I was already kind of known.
Okay.
I was Miss 10th grade.
Oh.
I'll just play. Well, no, I was.
You were, okay.
No, I was Miss 10th grade.
Okay.
But what I mean is like, you know, it wasn't like I was unpopular. I was kind of popular already.
Right.
You know, whenever you can sing and you had all the talent
So
shows.
you won all the talent shows. So
our group. We used to sing and all the stuff, so people knew who we were.
Go back. So when did the group form? You were in 9th grade?
In 9th grade.
In 9th grade, okay.
In 9th grade, when I was 14 years old. At first, we was just like, I was just going over their house all the time, hanging out with them. We was singing at church together.
Okay.
And people used to say, like, y'all should be a group or whatever. And I was like, come on, let's be a group. But Tasha, she was a senior.
Right.
I was a freshman. Okay. And Tamika, her sister, she was only in 10th grade. So Tasha used to be like, I want to be in a group with y'all.
Right.
You know? And we used to always say it to her. But one day, these ladies had like this audition, and my other friend Tan had took me with her. When I get there, they there. I'm like, I thought you said you didn't want to be in a group. And Tasha was just kind of like, I guess they had worked with these women before, so that's how they got them to be there. But at first, she had Tasha in an older group, meaning all the girls were like seniors in high school. Right. And then me, Tamika, and my friend Tan, and one other girl, we was like 9th, 10th grade.
Okay.
So we could sing, but we were young.
Right.
And so the day we had an audition for LaFace.
Okay.
I think Bryant Reed, L.A. Reed's
brother.
Yeah, we were supposed to be singing for him. And so the ladies made a last minute decision to take Tasha out the older girls group and put her with me, Tamika, and my friend Tan.
Okay. Was there any jealousy once you guys established the group? Was there any jealousy in peer mates when you go into class? Did anything change?
Amongst my peers?
Peers.
No. The only time I felt like they were some real haters was when, so when we first came out, you know, we were like all about the baggy clothes.
Right.
We weren't like prissy, made up girls.
Right.
So anytime somebody like said something negative about our appearance, or like the comedians would get up. I saw this one comedian said on Apollo, I remember one time, he was like, you ever seen that group Xscape? They need to be captured. And I came to school and it was like a couple people was like, oh, they just thought that was just so funny.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah.
Okay, the group. Now, T.I.'s wife, Tiny, she auditioned for the group. You guys have already got 3. So you got the older sister, the younger sister, and you.
And my friend Tan.
And your friend Tan.
Yeah. Tamika asked Tiny to come and audition for the group. She came. We had her doing all kind of stuff. We had her doing flips, splits.
Y'all doing too much now.
Well, I didn't know her at the time, so I was just
So you were really trying to her not to get the job?
Well, I kind of, at the time, I'm not even gonna lie, I kind of felt like Tamika and my friend Tan, which is still one of my best friends to this day, they had an argument, and then all of a sudden she bring in somebody new to try to audition for the group.
Right.
And so I was just kind of feeling like, are you trying to replace my friend Tan? You know?
Right.
So I we ended up having 5 members for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what did she sing, and when did you guys know, like, okay, we got something here?
Well, no, I don't remember what she sang, but she sang and she sounded great.
Right.
And then she could dance.
Right.
Tiny can dance.
Yeah.
She don't really do it as much anymore, but she can really dance.
Okay.
So she did her thing, and you can't hate on her.
Right.
And I don't know if a lot of people know this. Tiny used to be like a little kid actress.
Right.
Where you know how you have those little commercials on Saturdays?
Right,
They come and
right.
they throw the paint. That was her.
Right.
She was the little kid in the commercial that was doing that stuff.
Right.
So she already had like a little claim to fame.
Right.
You know? So I was like, okay, you gotta give it to her.
You look at you guys in the 90s, okay, so you got In Vogue, you got TLC, you got SWV, you got Xscape, Destiny Child a little later. So did you look at what they were doing and say like, well, dang, okay, they doing that, well, we need to do this? Or did you like, hey, I mean, this is our lane, we gonna stay in our lane? Or did you?
We didn't really have like an image when
Right.
we first started out.
Okay.
And we went through like 100 different ideas of what it should be. And one time we was Atlanta's best kept secret. We were the sounds of Touche, because we really had like this club that we was in. It was almost like a gang.
Okay.
Only reason why I say that is because we used to go to the club together, and you know how that is.
Yeah.
Like, if it goes down, we all going down. But so it was the sounds of Touche for a minute. And then we became Xscape. By us, we have met Jermaine
Dupri.
Yes.
So was So Def already established then, or had
No.
he not? Okay.
No, he was working with Crisscross at the time.
Okay.
They weren't out yet.
Right. Okay.
But he had already, done some things. He had that group, but I don't know if y'all remember the rap group Silk Times Leather back in the day. Yeah, he had them before, and he was working on some things. So our manager took us to him, and he was just kind of like, "Oh, y'all dope." We sang to him on his 19th birthday.
Okay.
And he was like, "Y'all dope. I'm gonna come back and sign y'all." We was like, "Yeah, right."
What
Because everybody had been saying
that.
So we even sang for Left Eye one time after they had came up and blew up, because we were like, well, maybe she can help us.
Right.
But yeah, it just never came around until like a year later. Our group, we had performed on, remember Teen Summit used to have like a talent showcase on BET?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we did that. We sang Hold On by En Vogue. Tasha, she beatboxed while we sang the song instead of playing the track.
Right.
And he was like, "Oh, y'all, the ghetto En Vogue. I'm gonna sign y'all." So he came back and signed. He did what he said.
Right.
After he blew Crisscross up, he did come back and sign.
Right. How did you come up with the name Xscape?
Tasha came up with the name Xscape.
Okay. Were you all in favor of it? Or did
we was cool. We was cool just simply because like we had been through a few names and nothing stuck.
Okay.
So when she said it, she was like, "Yeah, we could be escaping from the stereotypes of other girl groups." So it's like, okay, that works. Yeah.
Right. So you have a hit, Just Kicking It.
Uh-huh.
That blew you up. Was that the one that put you on the map? That you was like, okay, we've arrived. We're here.
Yeah. I mean, Just Kicking It really like took off quick, which we weren't expecting.
Really?
No. Okay, so to be honest, that we did not want that to be our first single.
Why not?
Well, we didn't think it was strong enough, and everybody like all of us like to sing lead or whatever.
Right.
But that particular song, I was the only one who really was singing on the verses. Tasha was ad-libbing, but it wasn't showcasing everybody.
Right.
So, we was kind of like, this not really showcasing the group and really showcasing like vocals.
Right.
It's that laid back vibe, you know what I mean?
Right.
So we were like, and he said, this is it. So we just went with it.
You went with it, and who can I run to? My little secret and understanding. So you're doing all these, and obviously you're blowing up. Now everybody knows, and when they talk about, the lady group, the girl group back then, SWV, and you hear In Vogue, and you hear all these, and it's like, Xscape. How does that? So what are you thinking?
What you mean? Like that we started being
Because
recognized?
now people are, when they mention SWV and they mention In Vogue and they mention all these others, you're right there.
Well, yeah. I mean, at the time back then, we were just happy to have the opportunity.
Right.
You know, we were just excited to be out there. You know, I feel like there's a time, and especially when you first come in the game, you just be like, thank you. I'm like, oh my God, we doing it, we got a hit. But then somewhere it kind of turns to where I think sometimes you take things for granted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you had started off, you had six consecutive top 10 hits, all 3 of your albums certified platinum, and you sold over 1 million copies. Just kicking it, spent 21 weeks on the Billboard Hot 100. So when did it all of a sudden you start, well, you know, it's more than just, you know, having fun, good times, and you start thinking about the business aspect of it?
Ooh, that's a good question. See, that was the problem.
The money?
We learned a lot of things on the job. After the fact, right? Okay. So I don't think anybody's deal, their first deal is going to be good.
No,
right?
Right.
And I don't have any regrets about that, just simply because when you first trying to get a deal, you first trying to get in the door, who are you? No,
right.
You know, that you have to get there in order to really be demanding anything.
Right.
So it wasn't a lot of money for the first deal.
Right.
But then we were just going along with whatever we were told to do as far as, you know, our managers or the people that were in place to tell us.
Right.
Because we didn't really know.
Right.
You know, Tiny and I, we were underage when we signed the deal, so our mamas had to co-sign on the dotted line with us. So, like, we didn't really know, but we had, like, a lot of big learning lessons.
Right.
We had one accountant that stole from us, I think, after the first tour. I remember we really didn't make that much money after our first album, but we felt like we was doing shows every weekend.
Right.
You know, and we were on a tour.
Right.
And we were doing separate shows on weekends outside of the ones we were doing on the tour. So we were like, oh, where the money at?
Right.
And it wasn't that much money.
Right.
For like weeks and weeks of touring, we only like probably had like $30,000 a piece. Or it was like, I don't know, it wasn't like a lot of money.
Right. You were thinking hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yes. And then when we were sitting down with the accountant, I remember he was saying, what's the word? What they use when it's like a line in the like a line where it doesn't really have a name. Miscellaneous.
Okay.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, this is for miscellaneous thing, and it was like $100 and some thousand. We was like, well, what?
Who is miscellaneous? And what did he do?
Yeah, like what is all this? But then come to find out, then all of a sudden it was like 2 accountants that were partners, and one of them disappeared.
Right.
So I guess he disappeared without money.
Right.
And that was our first, I feel, big learning lesson.
Right.
Yeah.
You mentioned JD signed you. So what did you learn about how to write songs? You know, because were you writing songs at that point in time before you?
I definitely was writing like at home. Meaning like before we met him, we always like trying to learn how to write and stuff like that. And I remember, you know, different producers that I would go and try to work with to tighten up my melody game and stuff like that. But working with Jermaine, I definitely would say I learned a lot.
Right.
You know, just simply because watching him write, how he would take everyday sayings or, you know, slang and flip it and turn it into a song that everybody want to sing.
Right.
You know, those things, or the way he make the verse go into the B section, all those little things he would do. I was like, okay, I got that.
Right.
So I used to ask him all the time, like, let me write.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd be like, okay, I'm gonna let y'all write. But when he did let us write, it would only be like a piece of a verse here.
Right.
Or a little bit here, a little bit there.
Right.
And not to say that wasn't good enough, but I think what it was, he was so used to at that time
doing it all.
You're doing it all. He was always like the creative behind whatever project he was working on. So he really wasn't used to giving up any control to anybody.
Right.
So I just don't think he really realized that
what you were capable of doing at that time.
Right. So yes, we do have credits on the songs, but I always say for me, especially now that I'm a writer as well for a lot of people, I think it's the difference when you the person that came up with the concept, the hook, the melody for the verse, and then somebody that came in and put a line or two on there.
Right.
It's two different things.
Working. I don't know if you're gonna respond to this or if you're gonna get upset with me asking this. In working with Jermaine Dupri, a relationship was established.
God, he was being sensitive.
No, I want to make sure. I want to be respectful. Maybe that's. So when people found out that you guys were dating, were they upset, or did you allow yourself like, damn, how did I manage to get?
That is the funny thing. People did not know. It was not like we were openly kicking it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, just kicking it. Is that where the song came from?
No. No, that is not. That is funny that you said that. But no. Actually, we had completed 2 full albums before we ever crossed that line.
Okay.
So I know it's like been put out there like so many different rumors.
Right.
That it wasn't like it was something that happened in the beginning. You know how you could be working with somebody and over time, you know, flirtation, things happen or whatever. So it wasn't like, we were, honestly, I felt like when people want to say like, oh, there was favoritism. There was no favoritism.
He didn't show you favoritism?
No.
Well, I got to stop it. I said, we got to stop this.
Yeah, like, not to say that I felt like I was supposed to be getting favoritism, because honestly, like for me, I never want people to feel like, oh, that's how I got on.
Right.
No.
Right.
I was on.
Right.
And then it just happened.
It happened. Okay.
Like, to be clear,
right.
You know what I mean? But so the only people who actually knew, as far as for me,
right?
Like, I'm not saying
who he told. Okay. Well.
Yeah, but like I talked to Tiny,
right,
a lot, and Tamika Scott.
Right.
We were the 3 of us were
right.
like, the 3 musketeers,
right.
and we would share secrets with each other.
Right.
So I would talk to them about it, and they would know, but not like I wouldn't be like, if we came in the room, you wouldn't even know anything was going on.
Do you feel women are judged more harshly for dating in the industry than a man?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's however it's brought to the plate. I mean, to the people.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think when it was said to the world, because like I said, like it wasn't like an open thing, mm-hmm. right?
Right.
When it was said to the world, it was said like, oh, she was trying to, kick it with him to get on. And it's just kind of like, no, that don't make sense.
Right.
We had already did 2 albums. I had already been leading on multiple songs.
Right.
So no, like, don't try to make it seem like it was that. So I feel like people, as a woman, we can definitely make the decision of who we want to share ourselves with.
Correct.
Right? So it doesn't have to be, oh, I'm trying to get put on. I was on.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm very clear about that. Like, I'm just very much like, I'm about my business.
Right.
And
you didn't like the narrative that was being put out about Kandi.
Yeah, I did not like that at all. But because also the narrative came later, and it wasn't even just that, it was the other things that were said along with it that really made it like, wait, what?
So have you had a full opportunity to set the record straight? Is the record straight now?
As far as?
What transpired, how it all went about. It's not like it was, because, they're going to portray, it was probably portrayed one way. She did, like you said, she did this to come up, yada, yada, yada. And you was like, well, hold on, I already got albums. I had 2 albums. What you mean come up?
Yeah.
I wasn't no fledgling. I wasn't somebody that was unsigned.
Right. Well, I never really felt like I had to clear up anything about the situation with Jermaine.
Right.
I didn't feel like I had to clear that up. I mean,
Right.
That wasn't it. It was, I don't know what other questions you got to ask. I don't want to be jumping far ahead of you.
No, go ahead.
But basically, obviously we worked together during that time period. After our group had separated, after the 3rd album.
Right.
And we had been like not a group for a few years before my group member got on the radio because she was upset about some things.
Oh, she outed you?
Yes, but not just that. She added some more BS to it.
Oh, she put some beef to that thing and make it grow.
Right. Well, the negativity. Okay, so the part that I felt like for a long time wasn't clear and people try to run with, she was like, oh, Kandi, was having sex with Jermaine, and she tried to make it seem like that was the reason why the group broke up. And that was not. Man. That was the first thing. And then the other thing was...
Y'all still friends?
Yeah, well, I stopped talking to her for a decade, but we're friends.
Okay,
again.
okay.
We're friends again. But anyway, but then the other part was that she added to it was that she tried to say, yeah, she screwed his daddy or something like that. That was way over the top.
Right.
And then I was like really like hurt and upset by the whole situation because, you know, a long time she and I had a great friendship. And then it's just like, I understand we're no longer like working together like we used to, but why would you do that? Like, but I never tried to clear up publicly what she said at that time, but that rumor lingered for years. And so that was what was frustrating to me. It wasn't the part about Jermaine. It was the other part because it's just like, dang, you gotta make it seem like I was just like going through the family. Like, the hell, you know?
I'm glad you said that, Kandi. I didn't say that. That's what she said. She put that out there. Let the record.
Yeah, but I mean, we cleared it up. I guess when we got back together and did that, the first reality show that our group had, you know, she cleared it up somewhat. Then there are still some other things that I felt like were never said.
Right.
That would have made it even more like, y'all would be like, what? But I don't feel the need to clear all those other things up or to add any fuel to the fire. I just feel like, you know, when she basically let it be known that what she said wasn't true. Then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna
let it go.
Yeah, I'm gonna let it go.
So where were you when you heard that? Did somebody come to you that she had put your business in the street?
No, you know how I heard it? This is the craziest thing. Me and my friend Rashida,
the
rapper Rashida that's on Love and Hip Hop. We were doing a project at the time. We was working on something. And we were in the studio and a family friend sent me the link while I was sitting, and I sat there and I listened to it, and what bothered me was it was like an 18-minute long interview.
Wow.
And the whole 18 minutes, she was dogging me out. And I cried. I was like, whoa. You know what I'm saying? It was very hurtful.
Did you know she had these feelings towards you?
No, I didn't know that. I mean, the thing about it was, I think, like I said, you know.
I mean, it bothers you now. You tearing up a little bit now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that really, can we get some Kleenex?
I mean, it's not coming down.
No, but I'm just saying, because it hurts you. I mean, because you in a group, y'all together, we sisters.
Right, but now mind you, we were separate for a time. So anyway, what happened was, at that time, Jermaine had just put out a book.
Right.
And in the book, he barely talked about our group. He don't really say that much about us. But I think in there, he said some things about her sister getting the big head or something, and that's why the group basically defeated themselves, right? Because we didn't break up because of a album not doing well, whatever. But she didn't like what he said about her sister, and so I guess she called herself.
But you didn't say it.
I didn't say it, but I am always the one to catch the heat for some reason.
Right.
So anyway, when that book came out, like the next day or you know, within that period of time, she went on the radio to do the interview calling herself clearing up that it was not my sister, the real reason why the group broke up. But now she says why the real reason why the group broke up. But back then she was defending, you know, her sister, I guess.
Right.
But at the same time, like, to be clear, I am very serious about, like I said, about my work, my accomplishments.
Right.
I'm like a person who likes accomplishments, right?
Right.
So it's not always about the money.
But you don't want people to shortchange your accomplishments.
Don't shortchange my accomplishments, exactly. So it was everything she said was hurtful, obviously, but it was just like, I think some of the things that the interviewer was like, so when she was like, yeah, Kandi did this, and she was like, you mean Kandi, the one who writing all the songs? Well, we all write. It was stuff like that. I was like, well, dang. And then it would be like, well, you mean Kandi that wrote this and did this and that? I mean, we all do that. Like, it was just like everything she said, and it was just like trying to make it seem like everything that I had done had been because of a man or because of somebody that I got hooked up with or whatever, which, no.
Right.
I go get the bag, and if I decide later on that we can hook up. Then we can hook up. But I'm gonna get that money
You
first.
get the bag first.
I'm gonna get the bag first. I'm gonna make my credits first. I'm gonna do all that. And then I'm married now, so all that doesn't matter.
Okay.
But I'm saying back when I was a single woman.
Right, okay.
I was very much so about, accomplishing all my goals. And I don't like for you, to go back to what you were saying about the way people look at women in business. When a man, has a relationship with somebody that he works with, people don't say, oh, well, the only reason why he made it there is because he got with a girl.
Right.
They are always going to say that about the woman,
Right.
which is so annoying.
I know.
It's annoying.
You mentioned that, and the way I got it wrote down here, because I don't want to be distasteful, is that Xscape, you're at the top of your game, and you took a hiatus.
Yeah, we broke up.
Well, I told you I didn't want to be disrespectful.
No. I always felt like it was a breakup. The reason why I say it was a hiatus,
right?
Because you want me to go through the whole?
Yeah. Hey, you here? I got you. You here?
Okay, so we were, doing really good. First album, second album, or whatever.
So now it's time to start making some money. Now you say the first album you didn't make no money, second album you make a little bit more. Now the third you're like, ooh,
yeah, we was trying to go get that bread for the third album.
Okay.
So while we were actually on a tour when we were supposed to start these negotiations, so we was on a tour and we started hearing rumors on the tour that our group member Tasha was going solo. So basically, she started, she had said it to some other people, or her team had been. It was whispers of it.
Okay.
So we asked her about it, like, you supposed to be going solo, And she's like, well, no, but when I do go solo, I'm gonna let y'all know. It was that type of vibe.
Oh, really? Oh,
yes,
really?
it was that type of vibe. So it was like, okay. But once again, you have to understand the dynamics of our group. Growing up, she was the oldest.
Right.
I'm the youngest. Me and her always bumped heads.
Right. Okay.
Her sister always sided her and did whatever her sister wanted to do. Tiny kind of rides the fence most of the time. Right. So it's like it always felt like them against me a lot of times. So you by yourself,
so you on an island.
Yeah, all the time.
Okay.
It was all the time. And so, but in this situation, it kind of felt like, she was separating herself a little bit.
Right, okay.
And at that year, I had just bought my house. So I'm 19, I had just got a house. Now, I still had payments though.
Right, okay.
So we supposed to be negotiating, and then it came back that she had basically had an offer from a label, I guess because they had been shopping the deal within the Sony system because you had to stay with them.
Okay.
And she had an offer. And so the lawyer basically was trying to say, well, she's not gonna do the third album unless y'all allow her to do her solo project. And that's when it became an issue for us because I'm like, that was messing up our money.
Right.
Because we trying to negotiate this big money and they're like, well, we don't even know if y'all gonna stay together.
Right.
And all this other kind of stuff. They used that as an opportunity not to pay us what we were worth. Right. So anyway, it really, really became a problem. I remember the days that she came to sit us down to talk about it. Oh, child. She gonna be mad at me for telling the story, but I'm gonna tell you.
Tell it.
We had a break from the tour. It was like a 2-week break. So for that week, we wanted to change up our show. Okay. Me, Tamika, and Tiny, we had rehearsals with the choreographer. Tasha didn't come to not one rehearsal until the second to the last day. So she came in there. She didn't even try to learn anything. She said, I'm just gonna watch. And she was like,
hold up, you in the group. What you mean?
She said, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. And we ain't doing that. Now, mind you, this is what we would have put together all this week. She ain't came in for. Right. She just basically shut down everything we were talking about doing. And then she was like, when we finish this rehearsal, I want to talk to y'all or whatever. So it's like, okay. So we already in our feelings because we were like, she gonna shut down everything. She wasn't even here.
Right.
We go, we sit down, we sit in a circle, and she says,
y'all sit Indian style?
No, we're in a chair. We're in chairs. Okay. We're in chairs.
Okay.
And she was just like, yeah, so I told y'all I was gonna let y'all know whenever I decide to go solo. Well, I'm letting y'all know. It's all about me right now. So, she said, Tamika and Tiny, y'all can go have more babies. And Kandi, you can do your little modeling thing or whatever it is you want to do. But I'm gonna go solo because it's all about me right now.
She put it out there like that?
Yes, and our dumb asses was like sitting there like, like speechless.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think she just caught us so off guard with the way she said it. It was just so disrespectful. Now, to be honest, down to her credit, it was frustrating on the first album.
Right.
Tamika got pregnant as we were starting to blow up,
right.
which became a big issue.
Right.
You know, back then it wasn't popular to have albums out and you pregnant.
Right.
You know.
Right.
But because, you know, she did that on the first album, then Tiny was like, well, it ain't fair, you know. And so she ended up having a baby on the second album.
Yeah.
So
what happened to you?
I was about my bag. I ain't doing that. So anyway, but to her point, you know, I guess that's why she felt that way.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
If I'm gonna give her any pass.
Okay.
But to me, I had got like this opportunity to do this. Oh, yeah, they still use their hair color box to this day. The Optimum hair color box. They had me as one of the faces on the box.
Okay.
So she was like, yeah, your little modeling thing or whatever it is you want to do.
Little modeling thing.
little modeling thing. So anyway, when she said that, I was just like, I sat there for a second.
Okay.
Because I was caught off guard.
Yeah.
But then I gathered my thoughts and I was like, all right, well, we'll just do the album without you. And she was like, well, I didn't mean that I was going to do the album without you. And, you know, I was just saying y'all could take a break while I did my thing. Now, I felt like, because we've had arguments in them before where she would say, you know, crazy stuff. I just felt like if she does leave and blow up, she ain't coming back.
No.
Period.
No.
So I was just like, we can't just be sitting around
waiting. Hoping.
So anyway, what ended up happening, you know, the three of us talked and we was like, come on, we should just tell Jermaine, let us do the album, let her do what she want to do, let us do the album, whatever. We get ready to go to now we were all on the same page.
Right.
Three of us. We get to the meeting, and Tiny loved to tell this story. Tamika shows up with Tasha, and they got these gray wigs on.
Oh my goodness.
And we was sitting there like, we knew that was about to be some bullshit. Like, I should have showed up with your sister. We supposed to be meeting with Jermaine today.
Right.
We go in there with Jermaine, and so Jermaine's like, what's up? You know, whatever. And Tamika's like, well, you know, can't you just let us wait on my sister?
Hold on.
Give us some money so we can just sit and wait on my sister to do her thing? I was hot, okay?
You went off, didn't you?
I think, no, I mean, I didn't go off because basically at that point, you done made us look stupid in front of our label head right here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we done told him we want to meet about going ahead and doing.
Well, you should have knew something, Kandi. They came in with matching wigs. You should have knew something.
Me and Tiny knew it was about to be some bullshit. But anyway, at that point, you know, the conversation of us going ahead and doing that album was just a moot point.
Right.
And so what was decided was they basically let Tasha know that, you know, she could do a solo project, but it would be after the third album. And she was supposed to do it with So Def and not the other company that gave her an offer.
Right.
So we went into our third album knowing that the group was going on hiatus. So that's why I say that.
Okay.
Because she didn't give us a complete answer of, I'm done.
Right.
She just said, like, yeah, I want y'all to wait while I do my solo project.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying?
I do get what you're saying. Okay.
That was a long story. I'm sorry.
It's all good. 19 years old, the group splits up. But
we didn't split yet.
Okay, you
was working on the third album.
Yeah, you took a break. You paused it.
We paused, I guess, after the third album. So what was I? I was 21.
21. Yeah. You buy your first house, you purchase, 19-year-old teenager, 21 years old. Not very many 21-year-olds purchase a house. So you're feeling good, like, okay, the group, you know, we taking a hiatus, but I'm good. I got some bread.
No. What I told you was I bought my house. I put a down payment
on it.
Let's be clear. It wasn't paid off.
Right, okay.
So I did that when I was 19 before I knew we was taking a hiatus.
Okay.
So when I found out we was taking a hiatus, I was panicking.
Because how am I going to make the payments now?
Right, because I've always been very much about my money. And back then, remember we used to have checkbooks?
Yeah, but
I used to balance my thing down to the penny.
Right.
Okay, so I knew exactly how much my bills were, whatever. So when she started doing all that, I was like, oh no, this ain't what I'm gonna do. So I was stressing.
Right.
You know, that's when I told Tiny, I'm like, yo, she gonna do her thing. Me and you we gotta figure out what we gonna do. So why don't we start working on another project? We should write and make demos and then show what we would want our project to be. Like, let's not go and try to get a deal.
Right.
Let's do songs and then take it to the label. Be like, yo, this is what we can do. So she and I started doing that, but it was while we were working on the third album.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Because my whole thing is, we know after this third album,
it's over.
Yeah, we don't know what's happening. So that's how we ended up starting writing with different people, and No Scrubs came about because it was a demo for Tiny and I.
You wrote that, you wrote that song, right?
Tiny, yeah.
But you ended up giving it to
TLC.
You were disappointed with.
No, I wasn't disappointed.
You weren't disappointed?
No. But, to be clear, me and Tiny had a whole bunch of hot records at the time.
Okay.
She and I liked the song.
Right.
But I always wanted to be a writer and write for other artists, but I didn't know how to go about it.
Okay.
And so when somebody had Tony, shout out to you. He was working with the label. He had played it for
L.A.
Reid, and he wanted the song for TLC. And I was just like, okay, let him have it. Because our manager that we was working with at the time was like, yeah, I like you, but it's not as good as y'all other songs. And I always felt like, yeah, I could write another one.
Right.
That's just how I was. I was like, yo, I'll write another one. Let them have that.
But when it blew, did you know it was going to do that?
No.
It's an anthem now.
I didn't know it was going to do that. But let's also remember, I feel like a song, it goes to who it's supposed to go to.
Okay.
And I feel like TLC definitely took it to where it needed to go.
Right.
I remember the day I saw L.A. Reid at this party, he was like, I'm going to make this song the biggest song of your career. I was like, yeah, right. Because mind you, Xscape, we had hits.
It's right.
So I'm like, okay. Like, I wasn't being disrespectful, but in my mind, I was like, yeah, right.
Right.
But he wasn't lying.
So what gives you greatest satisfaction? Is it writing, or was it like Xscape, you actually singing the vocals?
You may think I'm full of it, but I love both. I love being able to put a hit on another artist.
Right.
I feel like when I started writing for other artists, that's when I really started getting a different type of respect amongst my peers in the industry. You know, I feel like, say for instance, all the record labels come together for those different conventions, right? And they may see you and they'll be like, oh, hey, how you doing, that girl from Xscape, whatever, whatever. Right. But when you that hot writer or that hot producer that write hits for everybody, everybody's trying. Kandi, it used to be that girl from Xscape, but then it became Kandi. Hey, Kandi, how are you? And it was people that I didn't even think knew me like that.
Okay.
That were trying to connect and,
right.
Oh, I need you to work on this for me or work on that. So it gave me a different type of like, okay. And then that check was
that check hit different, huh?
That check was hitting way different, and I was mad because I was like, we should have been writing more songs on our project. Like, what is this? You know?
Right.
But because like having the little 5% here or whatever, that it wasn't the same as having like a good 50% or a good, 30% or whatever it is of the song.
I'm looking at you, Bills for Destiny's Child, just Destiny's Child. Joe hit If I Was Your Man. I mean, so now you just sit back there like, man, I don't want to go back to no group. I'm gonna go write these songs.
It wasn't that.
I don't want no group.
Oh my gosh, it was a weird situation happening. So I was, I was writing or whatever. And mind you, when I first separated, it wasn't just me. Tasha was still doing her thing too at first, right? But then while I was, during the course of our album, our project's supposed to be coming out, I don't know what happened to her project. I just saw the other day, she tried to imply like I stopped her project from coming out.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, but I was like,
girl, how I do that? Can you please tell her to ask Jermaine Dupri why her album didn't come out? She was signed to So Def. Ask him. Like, I don't know why she be trying to blame me.
Right.
Anyway, but Yeah, so for whatever reason, I don't know, because I wasn't really keeping up with what was going on with them.
Right.
After we kind of split.
Right.
I just really started just
Do your own thing.
doing my own thing, and I was just grinding. So after my album hadn't come out yet.
Right.
But her deal
Didn't go
through or whatever was going on. So then all of a sudden she was ready to come back.
Oh, no.
I was like,
oh no.
So they had a meeting with me, and I'll never forget. They was like, she was like, yeah, I think it's time for the group to come back, and people want Xscape, blah 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 blah.
Oh, really?
And I was like, huh? I was like,
did you say I don't want to Xscape right now?
yeah, I was like, nah, I really want to finish my project,
right.
though. Like, no, like I want to. I still want to do my thing.
Right.
And they was like, yeah, but right now it's about Xscape,
now it's about Xscape.
Right. I'm like, okay, now when she thought
she was trying to escape, now you want to.
So I was like, yeah, I don't know, I'm gonna have to think on that.
Yeah.
And then
I thought about it, no.
No. It was worse.
Oh, what?
By the time I left, we had like sat down with each other for like at lunch or something.
Okay.
Conversation. By the time I made it to my house, they was calling me back and be like, you need to give us the answer now.
What?
Yeah. Or you need to sign a leaving member notice. So I was like, in like a leaving member notice, basically, it was just like, it allows the label to just officially say that they can do it with just them without you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But they were like, either you're gonna do it now or you just gonna sign a leaving member notice.
How they gonna tell you what you gonna do?
And they did. I really was pissed about it, because in my mind, I'm like, well, we didn't tell you that.
Right.
But at the same time, they were the way they came at me, I was like, you know what? I need to just say, okay. I just said, okay, cool. I'll sign it. And I did.
Why did you say that's some bull jive? You should have said.
Because it had been so many years of our group, we do this vote.
Right.
Right? It's we have a voting system.
Okay.
So if you automatically you're gonna have two people sticking together.
Yeah.
And then if they get in tiny ear, you got 3 against 1 every time.
You outvoted.
I'm always on the losing end. You see what I'm saying? And so at that point, I just was like, I was just tired. I was just like, you know what? Okay. So I did. But at that point, it really piped me up to be like, okay, I really got to go get this bread.
Right.
Because now I've, basically said okay to letting them do what they wanted to do, letting them have it or whatever. And so that's why after that, the conversation, the time they came back a few more times after that point saying, oh, let's do it again. But at that point, I was like, nah, y'all didn't want me. Right. Like, that's how I felt.
Right.
And then mind you, our group, we do not have great communication.
Right.
To everybody's point.
But I thought women were great communicators.
No, I'm not.
Oh, so they've been lying to me, huh? Tell me I'm a poor communicator.
No, I'm horrible. Like I get into myself and I just be like, yeah, okay, cool. I'll just move on. We ain't even gotta talk about nothing. Like, I'm terrible like that. I am terrible like that. You shut it down.
You just close off, huh?
Yeah, I'm very, I guess, I do have like a dude side. I've heard that. But yeah, I definitely will be like, okay, cool. And keep it pushing.
When you wrote Bills for Destiny's Child, well, actually for Beyonce, when you see her in the studio, did you know she was going to become B? Forget Beyonce, they don't even refer to her as Beyonce. They go by, she's B now. Did you know she was going to be that?
I knew she was going to be great.
Right.
It was kind of pretty evident that her dad really was going to set her up to be solo one day. But her work ethic and her drive is serious. She, at that age, she's younger than me. She was a couple years younger than me, a few years younger than me. And she just, she knew what she wanted.
Right.
Like, as soon as we in the studio, we playing the tracks, and she was just like, I remember Shakespeare, who did the music.
Right.
He had walked out of the room, and I heard the girls talking, and she was like, look, if we don't really like it, we need to just let them know, because we don't need blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And I was like, well, do y'all mind if I sing you the idea that I have before y'all make your decision? And they was like, okay, whatever. Right. And then that was when Bugaboo,
right.
we was playing Bugaboo. And at that time, people weren't really singing over rap tracks or those high energy tracks like that.
Right.
So I had sang the melody that I had for the verse and the concept for the hook or whatever.
Okay.
And they were like, oh, okay, we like it or whatever. And so then we started doing things, but she was very instrumental of how it should be vocal produced, or, oh, this person, oh, you go in and sing this part, or I'm gonna sing this part. Like, she very much knew how to.
What she wanted.
And when we weren't in the studio, they had to go and do shows. So they worked every single day of the week and they was only like, what, 17?
Right.
18 or something like that. So I was like, the drive was crazy. Cause I mean, mind you, you singing every single weekend, like 3-4 days a week.
Right.
And then you going in the studio the other days of the week. They never had a day off.
Right. So you've worked with some of the biggest, obviously TLC and Beyonce and Whitney and Mariah, NSYNC and Usher, Monica, Alicia Keys, Joe. But so what is it? Do you get nervous?
Sometimes. Yeah.
Even after all.
I was nervous for sure with Mariah Carey.
Okay.
We wrote that song together over the telephone. Right.
Wow.
She decided that she wanted to work with Shakespeare and I, but I think she was out of the country working on her album, and we were in the States working with other artists.
Right.
So she was just like, okay, well, he sent her the track, and then she would be like, okay, what you come up with? And I'll sing her the idea that I had or the melody, and then she'd be like, okay, we're gonna change that word or change this word. And then she'd be like, okay, I gotta go back into here. I'll call you back. And then she'll call back after.
What was the song that you got?
It's called Ex-Girlfriend.
Okay.
But it was interesting.
Right.
I never have done a session like that, to be clear, because I like actually being.
You like to be there and.
Yeah, I like to be there with the person, especially if we're gonna collaborate writing wise.
Right.
But yeah, it was an experience.
Who haven't you worked with that you would like to work with?
Rihanna. And simply because, I think she is great at picking hits.
Right.
Meaning, the consistency of her albums.
Right.
She has to be saying, like, have a good ear to say, okay, that's, that's for me or that's for me.
Right.
Like, so I just feel like it's going to be dope.
Well, hey, me and you both. I would like to have Rihanna in that chair too, so I guess we...
Don't be trying to replace me.
Well, you already got that distinction. You the first.
Exactly.
There might be 15, 20, 30 women come after, but you're the first. So when I'm looking at you, you're the first woman, African-American woman, to win the ASCAP.
ASCAP. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the genre.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So when you get this, they say, well, Kandi, you're the first. And you said, I like being first.
Yeah, but I think that was the...
That hit different, huh?
That was the first time that it really stood out to me because, I didn't really think about it until I got there that day when it was like, oh my God, do you know what this means? And I really didn't know what it meant until I went back and I started looking at history. Like most of the time, every single songwriter of the year is a man.
Right.
And then for me, it really meant something because I'm like, okay, you know what? I am in a male-dominated industry. And it's time to kick the door open for my sisters to come through. You know what I mean? Because obviously they didn't see that being the norm.
Right. It's funny because I hear you always talk about that bread in that bag. Mm-hmm. And you say when you write them songs and wrote them checks real nice. Mm-hmm. They hit different, huh? Mm-hmm. So, and now you have the reality show, Xscape, the group, with SWV. Mm-hmm. How did that come about?
Okay, so after we did the verses, I guess Mona Scott Young, she decided that, there was more that we should do together because they got a lot of great reactions from the verses or whatever. And so she came back with this idea for us to do the show with SWV. I think everybody was a little bit apprehensive at first, and for different reasons.
Right.
I know for me, I just kind of felt like our group, it was a lot of tension after the first time we did the first reality show.
Okay.
And I didn't know if we can handle it again. I didn't know if I can handle it again.
Right.
because
Where did the tension stem from?
it was a lot of me and Tasha bumping heads.
Still?
On the first reality show. This time I think it's the two sisters bumping heads.
Okay.
You know. I mean, of course, I still have some issues in there. But so far from what I see, because I haven't seen what the rest of what they're showing.
Right.
It's a lot going on within the family.
Right. I mean, Ed Sheeran sampled Shape of You. And so when somebody comes to you and samples,
it's a blessing. It is so crazy, but
so
no
did
scrubs.
Did he call you?
Okay, so what happened was they did reach out initially when he first did the song.
Okay.
They sent the song and said that they want to work out the percentage of what he was going to pay for the split.
Right.
I mean, for using the melody or
Right.
whatever. So we had talked, but then we didn't hear nothing else from him.
Right.
So in my mind, I thought, okay, he's just not going to use it
Right.
or whatever. But then the song came out, it was on the radio, and people were like doing their No Scrubs and Shape of You mashups online.
Right.
And we was like, oh, okay, well then we need to have a conversation
Right.
about what is the split's
Right.
about to be.
Right.
And it was, they didn't try to, go back and forth about it. They just was like, okay, yeah.
You threw out a high. You always start high. Start real high. And then work your way down to
I think we were reasonable because honestly, what we, of course, it's a little bit more than what we initially was gonna do it for because we released the song before.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because now you got them over a barrel.
But we didn't go crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he might want to sample something else of yours and come back and see you again, huh?
Well, I mean, it'll be nice. But I've had a lot of people sample that song. It's a few people it's another song that's about to come out in the next week or two.
Wow.
Yeah.
So who would you say is the GOAT female songwriter?
A GOAT female? Oh, my friend Esther Dean.
Okay.
Oh, she's a GOAT for sure.
Okay.
But Diane Warren is the GOAT of all GOATs.
Okay.
For female songwriters.
Where would you put Missy?
Oh, for sure. No, let me put Missy is up there too. That's my girl. I love her too.
So, before we go into anything else, I want to know how did you get involved with the Real Housewives of Atlanta? Who brought that to you and you say, you know what? That sounds like a good idea. Sign me up.
That is funny. I didn't think it was a good idea at first. So I had watched the first season.
Right.
I thought it was good or whatever, but I didn't see myself being on there.
Right.
And so just out of the blue, Tiny, she was trying to work on a TV show idea.
Right.
And so she had reached out to me and she had introduced me to Toya.
Okay.
And she introduced me to another young lady, whatever. And they all had celebrity relationships.
Okay.
Okay. But Tamika wanted me to be involved in the show too.
Right.
So they were trying to do like a talk show of sorts back then.
Right.
So I was like, okay, cool. And it sounded like a great idea. He started working on it. And then it was like, maybe we could do a reality show. But the producer of the show, while we were in the midst of trying to put it together and shop the show, Derek J, he's a friend of mine, hairstylist in Atlanta.
Okay.
People seen him on TV before. He was like, hey, Housewives, they looking for somebody new.
Looking for a cast member.
Yeah, he was like, I think they need somebody with their own money. No, he said that. I was like, well, I'm already working on the show. He was like, yeah, but I'm going to tell them to call you anyway because they need somebody with their own money. And I said, yeah, okay, whatever. I was really just focused on the thing with Tiny. But then the producer of that show decided he didn't want to use me.
Wow.
Everything happens for a reason. So I was like, okay, cool. And that ended up being the Tiny and Toya show.
Right.
Remember back then?
Yes, yes.
But then, so the week after I found out I wasn't going to be involved,
Right.
Housewives called me.
And you said?
I was like, all right,
I'll try it.
It'll be something fun to do. I was like, I didn't think I was like, it'll be something to do for a year, I guess.
But, I mean, you're the OG housewife now.
Now, I never thought that was going to be.
Yeah, I didn't think so either.
You know what? I see you doubt me a lot. I don't know about you. I don't know about you.
But you said you're not confrontational, but you don't back down from confrontation.
No.
Okay,
I said I don't like to do a lot of talking.
Okay.
That's what I said.
Oh, you try to squabble. Damn.
No, I'm just very much like, I can go from being like real laid back and calm.
You go 0 to 100.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I can't. It's like that middle way. It doesn't last. I'm trying to keep it to my. I'll be like, look now. And the next thing I know.
So I mean, but the portrayal, and you've heard all this. This is not earth-shattering news. I'm not interrupting the normally scheduled programming.
Right.
They say the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and there are others,
yes.
especially when black women are involved, is not the most positive portrayal of black women. Mm-hmm. What do you say to that?
That's the funny thing. When I was trying to figure out if I was gonna do the show, there were some group of women sitting around, and they were like, "You shouldn't do that show. It's not a good representation of black women," mm-hmm. and all this other kind of stuff. And I said, "Well, if you think that that's not a good representation of black women, but you think I am, then why wouldn't you want me to be on there?"
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So overall, I think that we as black people, we are the most, we criticize ourselves.
We're most critical of ourselves.
Yeah. We're the most criticize ourselves more than anybody.
Yes.
And when I look at all the franchises, not just Housewives of Atlanta, all of them kind of portray a certain stereotype without trying.
Right.
So say, for instance, like the New Jersey Housewives, it's mostly Italian women.
Right.
What's the stereotype of Italian? They say they hot-headed.
Right.
You know, and then everybody know they was flipping tables. They was doing all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Family brawls, you know.
Yes.
Nobody Italian or Caucasian says, "Oh, they're a bad representation of us." Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But we, however, no matter how much we're showing of accomplishments and other things that we have going on, anytime we have the negative arguing or whatever, people always seem to want to say, "Oh, they're not a good representation of black women." But what I will say is, over the years, we have shown people that, yes, we as black women, we do have our arguments. We are a little spicy, you know, and all of that. But we do show our families and the love that we have for our family. We show you success stories. And we show you how, you know, sometimes things ain't easy, but we make it through. And I feel like, hey, if it's not, you know, if you don't like it, then maybe it's just not for you.
But you were able to parlay that. You have a very successful Kandi Cody. You have you're a restaurateur now. How has Real Housewives of Atlanta helped you in other avenues?
Oh, it's been helpful in every area. I didn't think it was going to be when I first did it. Right. So I was like, I've been on TV before. Like, what's that going to do for me? But the Bravo verse, the Bravo universe. Right. Our fans for Bravo, they go hard for us.
Yeah, they do.
So they're very supportive. You know, they come out to all your events, you know, whatever. So I always look at the show is really like your own infomercial. Right. And whatever you want the world to see that you're doing, they're going to see your drama. Right. But they really need to see you accomplish the things you want. Right. Because people will support it. Right. You know, and so that's just the way I go into it.
Yeah, because you're still the highest rated, over 1 million views per episode, the highest rated of any franchise. Still, as long as you guys been on the air, you still have the support.
Oh, we definitely got the support. I mean, TV numbers aren't what they used to be. Right. But, I mean, you know how they always be doing, the demo is this, and it's still doing whatever. It's still doing what it's supposed to do.
How about this? What's your relationship with Nene now?
I guess we're cordial. Last couple times I saw her, she was cool. I mean, it's like...
cordial, that means you're cordially invited. I mean, what?
Like, we don't keep in contact. Okay. But, you know, the last couple times we've seen each other, we spoke. We definitely go through our ups and downs stuff.
What about Marlo?
Oh, right now I'm not really feeling it.
Yes.
I am cordial with Marlo, but you know,
not feeling her.
We just finished season 15, and you will see why I'm not feeling her when it comes out.
Oh man, come on.
What?
I thought y'all was going. Oh, I'm gonna have to tune into this because I want to see progression and hopefully y'all make amends.
You know, we made amends sometimes, but she keeps going back to the bullshit. And I can't.
You can't deal with that.
It just was a lot to me this time around.
Right.
I mean, I can't tell you now because
No, you good.
Yeah.
But do you hate, I mean, it's been reported you make X amount of dollars, I ain't gonna say it, but do you hate when people leak your information, personal information?
I don't think those people know what they're talking about.
They just throwing numbers out there.
Yeah, because I be seeing some of the numbers that they say people's net worth and stuff, and they don't never be right.
Right.
And I'm like, how do they come up with this number?
Right.
Who is the person that's saying or leaking the salaries
Right.
out to? Just like when they want to say who's making the most money, or half the time they used to be trying to say what I made. I was like, is that what you think? Like,
I made more than that.
You know, I'm like, people, you know, and then people run with it. They really think it's real. I'm like, where do you, first of all, I'm not telling anybody my salary.
Right.
And I know Bravo isn't.
Right.
So where are you getting that from?
Right. Being in the business that you've been in for a long period of time, how hard was it for you to find a mate before you found, and we'll talk about Todd in a minute, before you were able to find someone like, okay, this is what I do, he's gonna be okay, I'll make X amount of dollars, I'm probably making more than him, and he's gonna feel some type of way that I don't really need him?
See, the thing is, especially when you are a successful woman, right?
Right.
It is kind of tough in the dating world just because, like, if you date a guy who has a lot of money, typically men who make a lot of money, they want you to sit up and cater to them, be up under them every day, all day, whatever. So when you don't have that type of time, it may cause issues or whatever.
Right.
So, yeah, I didn't stay in a lot of relationships too long.
But what about, so a woman that makes a lot of money, does she not want to be catered to?
We definitely do.
Well, what if he ain't got that kind of time?
What you mean?
See, you said, okay, you make your own money, you meet somebody that has more money than you say men like to be catered to.
No. What I'm saying, like, say for instance, and I'm not saying that, like, I wouldn't be willing to cater, meaning like cook or like, I'm not talking about those things. I'm talking about the type of time. I always use this example. A lot of times when a woman is in a relationship with a man, I've seen a lot of women, like, say for instance, we've been making love all night and everything good. When a woman get up in the morning, she be like, oh baby, I'm just gonna call in sick. I'm gonna lay up under you. I don't wanna go nowhere. I'm gonna sit right here with you. If turn it around. If a man has that same situation, when he wake up, he gonna tell us, babe, I'll be right back. I'm gonna get the bag, I'll be right back.
Right.
It's like, it's not always reciprocated. Meaning, a lot of guys, that's when cheating comes into play, or what? Oh, you don't have enough time for me. You don't have this. You know, so I've dated, you know, and all different types of, you know, men as far as levels of success.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I just feel like it's hard, you know, like I said, if you know, when it comes to being fully committed to each other, when both of you are focused on your own thing.
Right.
It works well. Like for me, with my husband and I, you know, we work on a lot of things together.
Right.
So it brings us together a lot.
Right.
You know?
Your husband, you meet him. He was working on the show. Was it eye contact? Was it love at first sight? When did you know, like, okay, he all right? You know, I can see me kissing on it.
Well, the funny thing is, I did not know him at first. He was behind the scenes or whatever. And a friend of mine, well, actually, Don Juan was like, Todd had came to set one day, and they had a conversation. He was like, oh, that Todd, he's a cool guy, whatever. Right. And then somebody else was like, oh, yeah, you know, Todd, he's super, super cool. And I'm like, that's the second person.
Yeah, okay. Well, I might need to know Todd.
I was just like, who is this? So anyway, I was in Africa, and a friend of mine who was a producer on the show, she was like, I know somebody who want to take you out. And I was like, who? She said, Todd. I said, Todd? That's this Todd again. So I was like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to find out who Todd is.
Right.
And I saw him, and then he didn't say nothing to me. He didn't even speak.
Right.
He was just like, walked right past me. So I was like, I saw her. I was like, I thought you said he wanted to take me out.
Right.
And she was like, well, I don't know why he didn't say anything, but he definitely said that.
Right.
But then later on, we ended up having a conversation, and we hit it off, and he kissed me.
What?
Just ran this out. Yeah, like we had been talking all night.
Right.
And then he just went in and kissed me. And I was like caught off guard.
Right.
Because, you know, some guys, they don't want to be so
forward,
yeah. Right? But I liked it. I was like, okay, he's not intimidated, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay,
But
cool.
he messed it up. You remember Hitch? You supposed to go, you go 70, then she come 30. You don't go all the way to 100, Todd.
Nah, he went 100. I actually like it. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of a 100 type. Anyway. So I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
And so when we came back to the States, we, started hanging out and went out. But he really wasn't supposed to be dating me.
No.
Because he was working on
the show. And that's an absolute.
Yeah, so we were dating in secret at first. And then after a while, I was like, okay, I can't be doing all this hiding.
Yeah.
I'm too old for this, So, he made a decision to leave the show.
Wow.
Yeah.
That man gave up his career for you.
That's what everybody says. Like, his friends was like, don't do it. You should do it. But see, here's the thing. I mean, we were only dating like 6 months at that time. But I felt like we had a strong connection. The thing that I loved about Todd is he knew things that I didn't know. Meaning like, business-wise and stuff like that. And we just connected on things we wanted to do in life and all that stuff. And I just was kind of like, he was making good money in the show. I know everybody tried to like play him like, oh, he doesn't make what I make.
Right.
But he made good money.
Yeah, he behind the camera. He shouldn't make what you were making. You were in front of him.
He wasn't even a cameraman. He was a producer.
Oh. I got
that was the rumors that they put out that he was a cameraman.
Yeah, he was a producer. I got sources.
Yeah, no, he was at first he was a production manager, and then he was a line producer.
Right.
But anyway, but yeah, so I was just like, yeah, he knew things that I was like. So basically, I just told him, I was like, man, we can make that money.
Right.
Like us coming together, like we can make the money that you over there. And I feel like sometimes when people have a comfortable situation,
right,
they be like, okay, I don't know if I should step all the way out on faith for you because I don't know if this gonna be like. And I'm like, dude, we can do this.
Right.
So we had put together this event like a couple weeks after he stopped working with them, and we had made a nice bag.
Right.
You know what I mean? We both put our minds to it, our team, we put it together. And I, not to say how much we made, but he was like, oh yeah, we could keep this, like we could keep running it up.
Right.
Yeah. So he was
You say the key to marriage is communication. You say you're not the greatest communicator.
He's a better communicator than me.
So that means, but you worked to communicate.
Yeah, I have to. Meaning because, I'm different in a sense of like, okay, I know how to work my battles with my husband.
Right.
First of all, we don't really argue that much.
Right.
But he's a Leo, and he likes to have his way all the time.
Yeah.
But, I guess maybe because I've been in a group, I kind of know how to pick and choose my battles.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So for the most part, I let him have his way,
Or at least make him think so.
Well, for the most part. Right. If it's anything that I feel super strong about, that's when it has to be a conversation. And sometimes that can get uncomfortable.
Right. Okay.
But the arguments don't last.
Right.
We don't stay in it forever.
How do you keep the outside noise? Because that's the relationship, especially you're on a reality television show, but the outside noise, how do you keep that at bay?
I've always been really good at not caring what other people think.
Okay.
Like if I cared what other people thought about me, then I would have been left behind a long time ago.
Right.
So I don't really care about other people's opinions. Like I like what I like, I want what I want, and I make that work.
You know what? In your show, you have kids now be a surrogate. So how was that? Because being reality television, you have your life play out in front of everybody, as opposed to you seem like you're a very private person where you were a very private person.
Back in the day.
Now you give up the privacy, you give up the anonymity to have your life play out on television.
Yeah.
How was that for you?
Well, it's something you get used to over time.
Right.
So now obviously this is my 14th season that I just finished. So now it's just part of what it is. But even with making decisions like, when I had fertility issues,
Right.
doing IVF and including the world in that experience, I know that I ain't the only one that's dealing with this, so it helps other people.
Right.
To see me go through that process. Or even when we decide to do the surrogate on our last child, Blaze.
Right.
We still included the world in what was happening.
Right.
And yeah, I know a lot of people had opinions.
Right.
But it helps a lot of people.
Yeah, so because a lot of times people's like, well, rich people have it. They don't have any problems. They don't have pregnancy issues. They don't have this. They don't have that. They think they think money solves everything.
Right.
It's just that you have the situation. You have the means to probably help solve some of those,
right.
But you still have those issues.
Right. Of course. We do have lots of problems. People be thinking everything goes or works for me, and it just doesn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's just that I just keep pushing, so you constantly seeing something come together. So you don't really see all the things that didn't go right.
When raising kids on television, is that something that you thought you would ever do? Because if I'm not mistaken, you had a daughter.
Yeah, my daughter Riley.
When you first started.
Yeah.
And you didn't, you tried to play it cool. You didn't put on a whole lot, but she was.
She was on, my daughter, she's 20 now.
Right.
So she kind of grew up on television.
Right.
It's funny. People feel like they know Riley.
Right.
But she was only like 6 then, and, I'm a single mom.
Right.
So yeah, a lot of people have been privy to the drama within that situation. And yeah, that was kind of tough dealing with that.
Right.
On television.
So
sure.
You have no regrets about, having to deal with that publicly? Because sometimes you like to deal with things, especially family. I like to deal with family behind closed doors. I don't want people to see that me and family bickering.
The problem is, it's like some of the stuff I didn't really have a say in.
Right.
like when you're on reality TV, sometimes they like to surprise you with some stuff.
Right.
Like, surprise, here goes your daughter's daddy. And it's like, what the hell you doing on here? It's that type of stuff that you be like, okay. So yeah, sometimes certain situations I wish I didn't have to deal with on TV, but it's part of what I am doing.
Right. Is your mom and Todd good now? Cause come on. Yeah, I mean,
they are not horrible now, but I think Todd.
What was the hold up with your mom and Todd?
My mom.
She don't think anybody's good enough for her daughter, does she?
No, my mom. Okay, my mom's old school, right?
Yes.
And I mean, I think she would. She would prefer that I had married somebody who had more money than me.
Well, damn.
What?
She want you to marry a Rockefeller, a professional athlete? I mean, what?
I mean, probably. I don't know. I mean, it's that old school mentality.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And and nothing wrong with that.
No.
I'm not saying anything.
But you love who you love.
You love who you love. And then on top of that, I just kind of feel like she didn't see the value in my husband.
Right.
Meaning that, yeah, you know how, like the Neo song. I mean, I'm a movement by myself. Wait, right. I'm a movement by myself, but I'm a force when we're together.
Right.
That's how I feel about me and Todd.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I was making moves before Todd and I got together, but we're a force together. Like,
okay.
It's leveled up even more.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I don't think that he gets the credit or the respect of what he brings to the table.
Because you were so successful before he got there.
Yes.
So people are not gonna give him the credit. They're not gonna give him the credit.
And I don't think that's fair. And obviously that can be frustrating to him.
Right.
And I think, the situation with my mom and him is like, over the years, she's said a lot of stuff.
Right.
She feel like we come from a big family and everybody talk crazy.
Right.
You know what I mean? But they feel like you're just supposed to get over it.
Right.
And I think he's at the point where he's tired of just being
getting over it.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you stop saying some of that stuff, and then therefore I don't have to get over it.
Yeah, that's kind of where they are right now.
Okay. What is this? Bedroom candy?
Yes. Bedroom candy.
I mean,
that's my adult toy line.
Yeah, I know exactly what it is, but I'm saying, how did you, you know what? I think people, they do. I mean, they using toys, they buying toys. They might as well buy from Kandi.
Yeah, well, I agree. I know the good ones, and I have the great ones.
Yes.
Yeah, no, but basically,
How did you come up with that? I want to know how.
Well,
Let's see.
I was doing this show online called Candy Coated Nights.
Yes.
And it's a sex and relationship conversation.
Okay.
And that was before everybody started doing it now.
Right.
Now everybody's talking about sex online, but we was doing it
way back
almost
when.
15 years ago.
Right.
So anyway, we had a big following for it, and I just was kind of like trying to figure out like what it has to be like a product or something that I can have to go along with this. And a friend of mine was like, "You should do your own sex toy," and I was a woman who enjoyed sex toys, so I was kind of like, that's an interesting idea. I like that idea. But the thing about it was, you know, because it's it used to be a stigma attached to it. Like only porn stars used to be promoting it or whatever. And you know, like people be scared to go to the toy shop because they don't want nobody to see them with the box, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah, wait about 9 o'clock. 10:30. I don't know anything about that, but you wait late.
Yeah.
Don't want nobody to see your broad daylight going up in there.
Exactly. So I wanted to change that.
Right.
And because a lot of women have not experienced an actual orgasm from just penetration or whatever. So women really need to know their own bodies and know how to express like what they like and what they don't like and all that stuff. So yes, girl, you need to get you a little toy. You need to figure it out, and you can share that with your significant other, and y'all can make it do what it do.
CJ, we gonna be able to stay on there off of this?
I mean, you can cut it out.
No, we ain't gonna cut it. We ain't gonna cut it. On a restaurant, several restaurants, right?
Yep.
Unfortunately, there was a shooting involved at one of your restaurants. Were you there that night, or you got the call?
No, I definitely got the call. My cousin, he had got shot, but it was outside the restaurant. It was during the day, actually. It was during the day.
Right.
Yeah. It was very upsetting.
Right.
To say the least.
So, 14 years on Real Housewives. You got the new reality show, Xscape, SWV. You got so many other projects. 5-10 years from now, what can we expect from Kandi?
Well, my overall goal, I tell everybody, I really want to achieve EGOT status. So, Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony. Well, I have a Grammy.
Okay.
Right now, working on that Tony.
Okay.
You know, this is my second Broadway show. I produced The Piano Lesser.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that they recognize it in this coming Tony season.
Okay.
But yeah, like I'm just gonna continue to build things. Right now, I'm developing another girl group, like the younger group. So hopefully, help them get to their dream.
Right.
I just want to continue building the empire with my family and letting my kids, helping them take it to the next level. Takeover. It's a Kandi takeover.
Kandi takeover.
Yes.
Thank you, being the first female young lady to sit down on Club Shay Shay. Thank you for the opportunity for me to sit across from you and ask you questions. Don Juan, I appreciate you making this happen. Kandi, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle, pay the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice, that's why. All my life, I've been grinding all my life. Look, all my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle, pay the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice, that's why. All my life, I've been grinding all my life.